So let's talk about Lavena Johnson. She was an American soldier who got offed by Uncle Sam's camp, and they covered it up and said that it was a suicide. Now, this is just an example of how people will literally try to say that you are lying about your experience when they wasn't even there. But when the truth comes out, they shut the fuck up because there's nothing that they literally can say. But this is just an example to let you know how some people will be so spiteful that they will know something happened to you, and because they don't want you to get justice, or because they are okay what happened to you, because they may be like a bully or a fake op, they will literally try to say that you lied about what happened, and that's not the case. So this is exactly what they tried to say happened with Lavena Johnson. So basically, her father saw a white soldier come to his door, and he said that he just had a feeling this whole morning. And when the soldier approaches his door, he says at first the soldier stands outside for a good little bit, like he doesn't even knock, but he is looking through his window and looking at the soldier just stare at his front door. When he opened the front door, basically, the soldier informs him that Lavena was no longer with us. Now, the dad is asking for answers and not giving him none. So then Uncle Sam comes out with a over 300-page packet stating that it was a suicide. That's what the government allowed the military to come out with. Allowed them to lie on paper. But you will have people like me who come out and speak their truth, and you will have the dummies who will literally be saying that people are lying about what happened to them and lying about their experience. Whole truth, and the whole time, the white people are actually the ones that's lying on paper. But again, what's understood does not have to be explained. I also would like to say that when you come out with your experience or telling your story, it's not for people to be in a disbelief or belief game. You wasn't there, so you don't have any proof, and you never will have any proof. Let's just let that sit there for a moment. And then the next thing is that when somebody tell their story, for you to ask for proof of a traumatic experience says a whole lot about you. Because we're not telling our story for it to be, this is not beyond fact or fiction, bitch. I'm not telling my story for you to see if you believe me. I also would like to clarify that the military is not about an experience. It's about the military's motto as a overall whole. It's not about coming in and ducking and dodging the racism or ducking and dodging a bad person. That's not what it's about. And it's actually sad because there have been more negative experiences than positive ones. But when Lavena's father decided to get his own autopsy done, because basically Lavena's father's friend, the father was not even going to go further with this. His friend said, you know your daughter was not suicidal. You need to get your own autopsy done. So he got his own autopsy done. They found out that Lavena had blunt force trauma to the head, which you cannot do to yourself. Somebody else has to do. She was raped. Her teeth had been knocked out, which you also cannot do to yourself. Somebody else has to do. She was sitting in a tent, but they told her father that she had passed away on base. But when they found her, she was in the woods in a tent. Another thing is that her gloves were glued to her hand, like glue inside of her gloves, and her hand is stuck to it. Can't come out. Another thing is that when they did autopsy on her face to notice the punches that were in her face, they noticed that the punches were did with different hands because the way her face had molded and shifted, you can tell it came from different angles. So somebody who punched her was left-handed, and the other person who punched her was right-handed, because it caused her face to go in like two different directions. Another thing is that her nose was broken. She also had a gunshot wound by her ear. And when they raped her to try to cover up their evidence and their DNA, because they took her power and harnessed her energy, they poured acid in her vagina. So this went from the government lying on paper now, because let's just say if that was me and I would have came out looking how I am today, you would have had so many people say, show us the proof of when they knocked your teeth out. Show us the proof of when you was bleeding. Bitch, you wasn't there. And why would I have to re-traumatize myself to get a point out to you? I'm trying to save people, and that's what I'm doing. Like I stated, the fact that on paper, Uncle Sam wrote down that Lavena Johnson had offed herself. After the autopsy came out in court that her teeth was knocked out, she had blunt force trauma to her head, she was raped, there was acid poured in her vagina, her gloves were glued to her hand, her punches in her face was different from different people, from different hands. Also, her nose was broken, her ear was shot. Nothing was done about it. They didn't go back and investigate. They didn't go back and hold anybody accountable. They didn't go back and try to see who was her sergeants that was out there with her. They didn't go back and question the people in her platoon. It was just, oh, well, the father found out what really happened. Now we're moving on. Next. We offed another black person like we wanted to. Next. And if the father tries to say anything else happened, we're going to say he's a liar. And we're going to have the internet bullies call him a liar too. Next. That is exactly what they did. Justice for Lavena Johnson.